All right, guys. Welcome to Luna Podcast, episode 9. Today's episode is about men. It's going to be about weak men in particular. And this is one of the subjects that gets passed around a lot, through social media. When your ex wants to talk shit, she's going to be like, "Oh, he was a weak man." It's one of those things that gets passed around a lot. And today I do want to get into detail as to why that is. Why this is becoming such a big issue in society today. I mean, I'm only 34 years old myself, and I think that ever since social media came around, I think that's where the shift happened. A lot of access to other women, porn, OnlyFans, and men just have so much access for them to become weak, just by default. Honestly, it happens just because of what's in your hand, literally on your phone every single fucking day. And this is what happens when men don't have no drive, they don't have ambition to become something better. Usually it's men that don't have much going for them. They have so much time in their hand to be looking at stuff that they're not supposed to on a daily basis. A man is always at his best when he's hustling, when he's pursuing something greater than himself. And all I see right now is a lot of men right now distracted. They're distracted. They're getting easily influenced into the world that's out there right now. So the first thing that a man should do to acknowledge if he falls into this category of being weak is paying attention to where your time goes whenever you're not working, whenever you have time off. That's the time that you develop yourself and your character as a whole. But if you're distracted going somewhere else, looking at stuff that you're not supposed to, you're going to destroy who you were supposed to be as a man. That's one of the first steps that you should look at is what are you doing with your time? Are you looking at other women? Are you scrolling through social media for hours? And guys, there's this setting on Instagram, Facebook where you could actually see how much time you spend on social media. If that shit is high, you actually have an issue. If that shit is high, you have an issue. And you're gonna have to figure out what your next steps are gonna be to dwindle that time away from social media. Because if you keep putting yourself in that place on a daily basis, you're only killing time. You could be pursuing something else, going to the gym, go out for the walk. Even if you're not chasing to be an entrepreneur, trying to chase excellence and build like businesses and stuff like that, do something that's going to bring you positive feedback to your life or to develop your character. Read a book, listen to a podcast. That's one of the main reasons I want to do these podcasts is to help individuals, not just men, but women as well. Later on, I will have just a segment for men, just because I've seen it happen so many times with the men that I know of what they're doing from my perspective. And I'm like, no, you're going down the wrong path. But sometimes you have to just let them hit that wall by themselves, honestly. And by what I mean by that is when you see somebody you know and you love and you care for them, you're not just gonna walk up to them and be like, "Hey, man, you shouldn't be with that person." Sometimes they'll take it personal. Sometimes you cannot be upfront like that. I know true friends are supposed to be there and pick you up and tell you the truth, but at what cost? It's very selective with the things that you could tell your friends, your peers, coworkers, or whoever. You have to be very careful. But sometimes you cannot change people. You can't really do much sometimes with people because they have to experience it to learn that that wasn't the way to go about it. And sometimes it sucks. We sit back and we're like, fuck, I knew that shit was gonna fucking, go downhill. It was gonna hit a fucking wall. And it sucks because these are people that we love, we care about. And it's why in my last episodes, I've always brought it up. Who you hang around, you're gonna become. So you have to protect that with everything. It's an energy you have to protect. Because if you hang around people that are negative, they're doing bad things. I've said this so many times. You're going to be doing that as well. It's going to become your nature because that's what you're seeing on a daily basis. Going back to what are men doing on their time off? That's making them weak. They're not pursuing excellence. They're not pursuing something that's going to give them a drive to become more ambitious. And they're just straight up lazy. Some of them are just straight up lazy. They don't want to do shit with their life and they're complacent. But don't go out blaming the world while your life is shitty. You have to do something about it. You can't just sit back and be like, oh, I want something to be handed to me. It's not going to happen ever like that. You have to go out, get up off your you have to get up and go pursue what you need to do. Get up off your ass and do something with your life. And that's one of the first ones I want to bring up because it's what I see on a daily basis with my clients because I'm a tattoo artist. So I see sometimes what people are looking at. Not that I'm being a little fucking like I'm not trying to see what the fuck they're doing, but they're open about it with me. And they'll be like, hey, look at this, look at this. And in my head, I'm like, it feels like that's what drives them the majority of the time. Is TikTok videos, women, pictures of women. I see it all the time. Like I said, it's not because I'm looking, it's because they're showing me. They're being open about it. I'm like, damn, bro, like you could be doing something else. Be reading a fucking book. There's audiobooks. Listen to something positive. Don't be putting your time into fucking TikTok, scrolling through social media, looking at women you're never gonna fucking have, especially in the pace that you're going at. It's not gonna happen. People have all these dreams and fantasies and shit like that. As a man, you cannot have that. You have to work hard. Once you earn that, then you go pursue the extra stuff that you think that you might have not had before, which is women, money, cars. I mean, it's a bunch of stuff that goes from there. That's why you have to become an excellent man, a man of excellence. I mean, in other words, a high value man. I said it before. The life of a high value man, it's amazing. Because if you live a life of average and you don't do shit with your life and you're staying average, you're going to suffer as a man and you're only going to wish that you could have done more. And it starts with those little times that you have free during your day. Do something with that time. Don't be looking at other shit that you're not supposed to. Be better. There's a bunch of fucking weak men out there and simps, and I'm going to get into that right now. But there's too many of them out there right now. Be the 10% of men that resist what everybody fucking falls for. 90% of men. I mean, it's around fucking at least 80% of men that are weak, honestly, because they're weak to their needs. They're weak to everything that they get influenced by in life. They get easily influenced into doing something that they're not supposed to. And a man like that is a weak man. A man that is easily influenced. A man that cannot say no to alcohol, cannot say no to porn, cannot say no to women. Those are weak men completely. And guess what? The ones that are weak, they're pursuing alcohol. They're drinking every fucking day, it seems like. They're chasing women every fucking day, sending DMs left to right. And they don't get nothing from it besides what? Just a quick little thrill to see what girl's gonna fucking hit them back. Or get drunk at the bar that night and do it again the next day. But it affects your mood every single day. So that's gonna prevent you from actually, achieving excellence in the next level. You have to fight those urges. If you don't fight those urges, your life is going to stay the same. I promise you it will. It's not hard to figure out. It's common sense. So this next one I want to talk about, it's the one that gets to me so bad because it's the one I see the most. It's men that are simps. Oh, what the fuck are you going to do with these fucking simps, right? I mean, these are the guys that chase women every fucking day. They'll send 15, 20 DMs a day. And sometimes they don't even get replied to. None of them. Especially if you're an average guy. But then again, high value men do not pursue. And it's what I've said before. They don't pursue women. Women literally fall at their lap. That's how high value that they are. Usually weak men, they don't have options. That's why they're pursuing. It's common sense. That's why I'm putting all this information out there to make sense for it to make sense. Because it's not hard to figure out. And guess what this is doing? This is destroying society as a whole. Because first of all, it's inflating the fuck out of these women's egos. They think that they have options. When 80% of men are hitting them up, imagine how that feels. Or how they feel. They get hit on every fucking day. And they feel like they're on top of the fucking world. Why? Because of weak men. And the women that reward these weak men destroys society as a whole. This is why it's all modernized. This is why the dating pool is fucked up. Because these women are just handing it over to weak men. And these weak men are not earning it. Or at least they're not developing they're not developing themselves to become excellent men that women are chasing them. And then they have the decision to make of who they want to put their time with. Or who they want to take serious and actually commit for a long-term relationship. You catch my drift? And this is what's happening. Simps are destroying society. But when it comes down to the women that are just desperate in a way as well, because most women that are high value and they know their value are not going to open up DMs to any fucking random stranger on their fucking Instagram DMs or Facebook DMs or anywhere. Because she knows her value. But imagine the women that open them up and then she responds back to them, every single one of them. Her value is garbage. And this guy is just going to go in there for the kill and then get out. And then it's just a fucking shit show. The fucking woman loses her value even more because she's giving it up to somebody that's worth fucking shit. And the guy's just going to keep doing it. He's going to remain weak because he didn't earn it. He didn't work hard for it. So weak people are just making each other weak. And I guess that's the saying is misery loves company. When garbage attracts garbage. This is what's happening. The time that women stop rewarding these weak men, maybe society will change because it's easy to point the finger at the weak guy. Yeah, it is. But guys are very stubborn. I think men are more stubborn than anything. And what women lack is accountability. Those two are the highest, I think, in both genders as to where the suffering happens in that place. And I think that's where the two genders struggle the most, honestly. Women struggle with accountability, and men, they're just stubborn. They don't want to be doing the right thing at times because sometimes they're just opportunistic. And honestly, I feel like this is where the two genders struggle the most. I mean, it might be very different with different people. But, but from my experience and what I've seen, this is what I've seen the most. And if women cannot take accountability, they're going to keep accepting garbage. And if men are just going to be stubborn, they're going to go after anything that's just easily given to them. They're not going to be able to work on themselves to become better men and chase excellence. They're going to stay stubborn. They're not going to actually want to pursue something greater. Why? Because it's just easily handed to them. Be like, oh, fuck it. I got it quick, you know? So these are one of the things that really pisses me off about simps is that besides it's making society a lot harder to bond as a whole between male and female. It is so hard because you just do not know what these people have been through. And I'm talking about women as well. Like when you meet a new woman, what if she's already been used to talking to a bunch of weak men? Like, she's gonna just think that you're the fucking same. That's why you keep hearing the same old thing over and over from women. Oh, men ain't shit. Men are weak. Men are feminized. It's because this is what society has created. And the sooner that people start taking accountability and men start fucking stepping up to where they're supposed to be, maybe we'll have a change. But I do not see it happening anytime soon. I just do not see it happening anytime soon. It's truly it's one of those things that I hope that it doesn't happen by the time my son has to endure all this bullshit. You know, my son, he's already a teenager, so he's already gonna step into the world of the fuckery of what's happening with the young people. So I only pray for that to become better with time, because if we don't do shit about it right now and understand what's happening, it's only going to get worse, because our parents did not have this problem, but they didn't have social media. You know, each gender respected their role. The man was supposed to be the leader of the household. The woman was supposed to be the submissive wife. Now it's the complete opposite. So this is why it's all fucked. Like, honestly, if you could just control what you can in your household and be your best to show your kids what's really important, you're going to make a difference, because that's going to be the light that we need through everybody else that needs help. There's a lot of people that are just, they're blind to information like this. They don't know, they don't understand it. They'll take it personal. They're just naive to it. And a lot of the stuff that I'm going to say, it's going to probably piss people off. I don't give a fuck. I'm telling the truth straight up, because I've been through stuff like this that has affected me, that I've been through, that I've done, that I've seen a lot of my friends go through. A lot of the stories I hear through my career that I hear them all the fucking time. And something has to give, man, because when is it going to stop? When is the gossip of talking bad about your partner because they're not making you happy? Calling them weak. It's easy to point the finger, but sometimes it's better to point the finger back at yourself and see if you're not the problem or if you are the problem. It's easy to point the finger. Trust me, that's the easiest thing that you could do in this fucking world. So yeah, it's easy to tell a guy, be like, oh, you're a weak man. But why is he a weak man? What created that? Was it the habits that partner put him through? Was it was it because the woman overpowered him that he couldn't just do anything anymore because he doesn't want to create chaos in the house? Was it because the woman is always overstepping on him and he's just staying quiet so that way there's no more conflict in front of the kids? There's a lot of things that could be the reason as to why you might want to label a man weak. That's what I'm saying. You have to look at yourself. You have to look at your actions as to what's causing this. Sometimes men are weak in general. I get it. I get it. But I've also seen men that are strong. They go into a relationship and they get out of it weak. Like there was a shift of energy in that relationship of 5-10 years. And they're no longer somebody I know. Somebody I used to respect, somebody I used to look up to. I'm like, what the fuck happened to him? His balls fucking got cut off, literally. And this is happening a lot in a lot of households. So yeah, it's easy to point the finger for a weak man, but why is he weak? There's a lot of blame to be put around, but you have to get to the root. Because if you don't get to the root, it's easy to point the finger. I know I'm getting out of topic right now, but I was talking about simps. But I'm trying to give you guys some information that could open up your eyes a little bit. Some of it is common sense. Some of it you guys know what I'm talking about. If I have to be here to remind you, fuck, I will. So Simps is the one that was my second one. I truly feel that that's the one that's destroying society in general. And then women rewarding that as a whole. Because you always hear women say, "Oh, I get a lot of attention. Oh, my DMs are filled. Oh, I could replace you quick." I'm like, but you understand that you're getting low value attention. Like you have to understand, like this is garbage. The type of low value that you're getting is not going to create a life that you want. They're putting you as the prize. They're the ones putting you on a pedestal, but you don't want them back. You love the validation. And I'm talking to the women that are weak, the women that reward these fucking idiots. This is what's happening is when a weak woman is rewarding a weak man. So yeah, it's easy to point the finger at the man. That's where I got to the point before, but man, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and become better. So that way you're not rewarding, or at least acknowledge. Don't be naive to who you're giving this attention to. I think this is what's happening. A lot of people, they don't realize that they're giving energy to people that are garbage, like that are just low value. Like how can you tell if they're low value or high value? Ask yourself that question. From all those people that you've been talking to, all the people that you've allowed into your life, how did they get in? Think about it. How did they get into your DMs and you allowed it? Was it because you were lonely? Was it because you wanted attention? Was it because you're addicted to validation? It's a lot of things to question yourself. But once you get to the root, just like I spoke about, you'll understand what you have to do and you'll make the change and you'll become greater from what you're dealing with right now or what you are. Because weak people are making weak people even weaker. I know this subject's about men, but it's a domino effect reflecting back at men. The man's already weak. The weak woman's rewarding them. So it's only making him weaker because he didn't earn it. This ain't fucking Halloween and you just get fucking candy from every fucking house. Nah, fuck no. That's how these women are just giving it out. I hate saying it. And it's usually to these garbage men. So I always hear women, they're like, oh, I fucking hate my baby daddy. I'm like, well, you decided to open up your legs to him. You decided to have children with them. They weren't garbage then. They weren't low value then to you. You have to be paying attention to who you're giving your energy to. And vice versa. Because there is a lot of women that destroy men's lives. So just be better with your choices. Don't be naive. If there's information that I want to give you is to make you more aware of what's out there. Because there's a lot of people getting hurt right now because they do not know better. They get into situations and they love the thrill, they love the attention. The person might be good looking, they oversee the red flags. It's a lot. And then you're back into the misery. And but what does that mean? I don't want to call you weak, but if you were stronger, you'd be making better decisions. Truly. And I mean that from my heart because I care about you guys. And it's one of the things that you have to do is look at yourself in the mirror and truly see what actions you're taking daily. Is it making you better? Where's your time going? You know, is it going towards stuff that's going to make you better or it's more of a distraction? And it's only making you more toxic, more bitter, whatever it could be. There's a lot of things to look at. So I think I covered a lot of the stuff quickly, actually, off the back as to why the fuck these men are fucking weak. But there's a lot of things that I could bring up in detail and examples so that way you guys could understand a little bit better. Before I move forward, I just want to tell you guys, I'm speaking to the women. If you don't want a weak man, don't reward him. And to the men that want to be strong, that want to, achieve excellence and pursue something greater than what you already are, change your life for the better because you're only going to get beautiful things from life when you do the good things. And you're actually pursuing something that's going to give you a great energy to yourself, a great energy to the people around you. And you become an influence for your family, for your friends. Do something positive that's going to bring that love back to yourself, to your soul. Stay aligned with the masculinity inside of you. Right now, what's happening is a lot of men, they're becoming very feminized as reasons why they're weak. You have to stay in that energy, that masculine energy. Because once you get away from it, that's when the problems start. Understand that. No woman wants a weak man. I think that's one of the number one things that I've been through all my podcast episodes that I've been doing. That's been the number one thing that I've heard women complain about the most is weak men. Like, oh, my husband, he's a piece of shit. He's not ambitious. He's just weak. Like, you know how many times I've heard that? Like, it's one of the, I'm telling you, it's exaggerated. but it's because it's getting passed around a lot. So create a space in your life, especially if you're married or if you have a girlfriend, you know, pursue excellence as a man. Make your woman want you. Make your woman just crazy about you. But if you stay the same for years, not doing anything different, not pursuing something greater, she might get bored and she might start looking elsewhere. Because honestly, this is one of the things that I hate reading up on statistics is that 70 to 80% of divorces are initiated by women. But women are leaving the marriages. They're leaving relationships more than ever. But why? Because they're getting bored. I think it's one of the things that I feel like it's happening. Yeah, it could be infidelity. It could be a bunch of other garbage. But they've done the same studies with lesbian couples that are actually married. And the percentage of that, it's 250% higher. Like they get divorced more than a male and a female being married. So no, you can't blame the men. I just want to put that out there because I know women are gonna be like, "Oh no, it's the fucking men." No, trust me, they've done the studies with lesbian couples, and it's ridiculously higher at the rate that they're getting divorced at. So no, they can't even blame men there. So you guys have to understand your roles and see what you have to do to become the best partner for each other. So as men, you guys have to do the things that are in your nature to protect, provide, and give your family a life that you're going to be proud of. Those three things right there are just so simple. There could be a whole list about it, but I think that those three things are the most important to protect your family from danger, provide, give them the financial life and everything that they're going to need. Medically, everything that the family might want for Christmas. Like, there's a lot of things that go with finances, and to provide a life that they only dream of. Which I know that could go into the second one with providing. But you know what I mean. So as men, you guys have to do a better job because a lot of women, like I said, are throwing you guys under the bus very quickly. And I think right now we're in a time where infidelity is at the all-time high because of social media. Like I said, we all have distractions on our phone. And the thing about women is they're only happy of how they feel during that time. So like if you're pissing them off consistently and the years go by and she steps out, I mean, I'm not condoning infidelity, but this is why it happens. And vice versa. This is both ways. But I'm going at men right now because they're the ones that should be the leader of the household. They're the ones that keep that household in order. It's like the king and the queen, and then the kids go from there. The king is the one that is in charge of it all. The entire castle, the entire city, whatever it could be. You catch my drift. And this is why it is so important to women for them to be submissive. And it's why it's so hard right now because a lot of women, they do not want to be submissive. And it sucks because if you've been married for 5, 10, 15 plus years, if you're accustomed to a certain way with your spouse, it is very hard to change that. You could go to marriage counseling and understand what you have to do. But once you're used to somebody for so long in their ways, it is very hard to change that. But it is doable if both people want that marriage to work. But nothing's ever impossible. But it's just right now, people are finding the quick way out, which is going on social media and easily allowing other people into your life. It is one of the number one things that it's very beneficial for us, yes, for business and stuff like that, but for anything else, it's destroying families every single day. It's one of the saddest realities of life right now with social media. So if you become aware of what you're supposed to do in your household with your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, make each other stronger, because it's easy to point the finger, like I said, but men have to be the leader. Men have to take charge. If you don't take charge as a man, you're useless as a man. Sorry to say that, but you're just a piece of furniture in the house. And if the woman is running that household, it's over. Yeah, at this point, it's over. And if it's been like that for years, how are you going to reclaim that masculine frame for her to respect you when she hasn't respected you for so long? That's why I said it's very hard for people to change who they are after being together for so long. But this is the reality, and I have to put it out there so that way you guys could understand. And it sucks because I hate seeing families break apart. All because of a distraction, all because of a little thing sometimes. Marriage it's not easy. It's choosing to go to battle with each other every single day and making it work, but not giving up. That's the hardest thing about marriage. That's why you say your vows when you sign up for that. But many people, they don't take the vows seriously. So think about that. If you feel like you have a partner that's weak, men or women, do your best to uplift them. If you try and it doesn't work, that's why there's divorce lawyers. I think people are putting up with bullshit for so long. And they're only damaging the relationship more than just stepping away and not hurting the other person from stepping out while being in that relationship. People want to do the easy thing, which is stepping out, using the excuse, oh, my partner's weak. But what does that make you? Something to think about too. So I'm saying you have to make each other stronger. If you've tried marriage counseling, if you've tried counseling, if you're not married, you just have a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Um, you can only try so much before you just have to step away. And I think one of the things that people struggle with is walking away. I think that's one of the biggest things that they can't do because they're so attached. They think that they can't ever get that again from somebody else. All this garbage that they feed themselves, honestly. The mind is it's your biggest obstacle. And the sooner that you could attack it yourself, you'll be in a better position. Because your mind is the only thing that's keeping you from having a better life, especially if you're in a toxic relationship. A lot of people stay in places that they're not supposed to. And they're only damaging the relationship a lot more than just stepping away or just calling a fucking lawyer and be like, hey, I want a fucking divorce. And the kids don't have to see the fucking misery. They don't have to see dad and mom always fighting. I've spoken about this before. You're only showing the kids like a life of misery. And they think that that's normal. Like I said, people cannot walk away. I will never understand that. They'll create this reality in their own heads as to why they should stay when they have every fucking reason to leave. It doesn't make sense, but they'll have one little fucking reason that they're like, nah, this is the reason I'm gonna stay. And then here goes the same old fucking circus over and over, year after year. And when the fuck are you gonna learn? Never. you're just as weak as a person you're trying to leave. That's just the reality. And many people, they do not want to hear that truth. So to continue with my list, a different list that I've made, I'm going to read through it very quickly. I'll summarize some of them as I go. So they fail to have a frame, and these are weak men. They fail to have a frame. These men are usually guys that could never say no. They're usually yes men. They're very naive. They're just pushovers. They're not men that are respected. And this is what's creating a lot of feminized men because they don't have a frame. Without the frame, they're easily going to crack. And that crack is usually filled in with a lot of the feminine energy that they're receiving from the opposite gender, what usually is the wife or the girlfriend. I already talked about the simp culture. Men are addicted to women as pieces of meat. And of course, the porn and OnlyFans and all that bullshit. That's part of the list I already spoke about. There's a lot of TikToks that I've seen where these feminized men talking about their soft guy era. The fuck is that bullshit? Like a soft guy era, really? You're gonna be soft? I guess you're just gonna be a pushover, huh? I talked about chasing women. That does make you weak because look, let me give you an example. And I'm pretty sure women that are gonna listen to this are gonna understand it a little bit. So if you're a woman, a man chases you, he's DMing you every fucking day. Who has the power? Like literally, who has the power if a guy is messaging you every fucking day and you see the DMs coming every single day, even if you don't respond? Who has the power? You do as a woman because you get to decide if you're going to give that guy energy or not, if you're going to respond to him or not. So now, does that make sense as to why what I spoke about earlier is that this is creating a lot of misery and fuckery in this dating culture? Because a weak man approaches you, he's doing that with every other female that he's trying to get in contact with, and if one of the females rewards him, why do you think he keeps doing it? The moment the woman stops, the man's gonna be like, fuck, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I should change. And they'll pay attention to me or they'll be chasing me. That's why they're not changing. All these women, I see a lot of women, they'll post the actual messages from the guys. These guys are sending dick pictures and they're shooting their shot completely. And even if the woman is blowing them off, these men are still hitting you up. I'm like, bro, how fucking desperate are you? Like, how desperate are you that you have to put yourself out there like that? You're giving your power away as a man. You're allowing a woman to have control over you because you're giving her the power to see if she's going to return it to you. You understand that, right? That's why a man that chases is a weak man. Like truly, he's a complete weak man. I know I might get some fire for that, but I don't give a fuck. All these fucking pickup coaches and dating coaches that are showing guys how to pick up women in general, just at the, a cold fucking message, DM, and stuff like that, or even in person. You can't even approach women in person anymore. They are stuck up. They're stuck up completely because they have a fuck ton of messages on their Instagram already. Like, who the fuck are you that's gonna completely change their mind and be like, oh no, he's the one I'm gonna talk to? Like, no, it's just Right now, it's a fuckery. Right now, it's a complete mess because weak people are rewarding weak people. So this is what's really ruining the society completely, because how will a woman ever know if the man is high value when she's used to all these men acting the same way, 80% of them? Like, truly, how is she ever going to know the difference between a weak man and a strong man, a man that's actually masculine, without her being like, oh, you're just like every other guy, or you're just like my ex. He used to be that way. Oh, he used to try to make me submissive, and he used to be this and that. He used to be controlling. Like, I hear it all, but how will you ever give the right man the opportunity? Like, truly, this is why on my last episode I talked about this. It's why women are going to be single. 50% of women are going to be single by the age of, or the year 2030. 50%. They're going to be living with cats. But it's just, I wish women, they would do their research and be like, what does a man want? That's one of the biggest things right now, is because they feel like how they approach the dating world, they think that that's how men approach it. No, we're two totally different, like, we're two totally different genders. So we do different things in a certain way. We look for very different things. We do not look for the same things. We just do not. And that's one thing that's fucking society up right now, is that women think that because they want something in a man, they think that that's what they want. How can I explain this? What's fucking society up right now is that women think that men want the same things, vice versa. No, we both look for different things in the opposite gender. We do not look for the same things. We don't. And the time that women are gonna start looking into what men want, maybe things will change. Shit, maybe I could write a fucking book and I could actually write it down. What do weak men want, and what do high value men want? There's two differences. And there's also differences into what weak women want and what strong women want. Like, they're all different things. And right now, it's all a fucking fuckery right now. Like, that's why it's all getting mixed. High value men get hooked up with weak women, and then those women feel entitled to a title with that man. Even though that high value man just wanted to fuck you. That's all he wanted to do. He didn't want to take you serious. And like I said earlier, it's overinflating the ego on these women. Just because the man slept with you and he's high value, he has money, he's good looking, whatever it could be, he's in the top 10% of men, you feel entitled. So every other man that comes after him, you're not going to bat an eye to him. So you see how this delusion is getting created? Women are getting confused. They're becoming more delusional than, like, they're becoming more delusional than ever. And men that stay weak, they're not going to be able to get the woman that they want or that they deserve. So they're just going to be going through women left and right, damaging the women along the way. Because I spoke about this before, the more partners a woman goes through, she's only self-sabotaging herself. It's like a self-destruct mode for her. I talked about it on the last episode. Even if you have more than 5 sexual partners, the chances of you being in a happy marriage long term dwindle. If it's over 10, the percentages are so fucking low for you to succeed in a marriage. It's because women are more emotional. It does not affect men the same way. So, so like I said, it doesn't affect men like it does women. Women, they self-destruct when they give their body to different people. And honestly, I think it affects them all, like in general, when they give their attention to the opposite sex in a consistent basis. If it's flirtation, if it's just being promiscuous with the opposite sex, sending nudes and stuff like that. Um, I think the woman that receives the most stimulus, which it means the most validation, she's only self-destructing herself as her own character. So she's only developing herself to be a hoe, not a housewife. And it sucks because I've seen, like, even people in relationships, they take on these fucking activities and they're only damaging their character. They're not getting better. So how do they expect to magically get this amazing man in their life when you're not doing the work yourself to earn that? I know I'm talking about men in this subject, but I'm going to bring up women that are weak just to throw in a little extra in there because it affects the weak man as well. Because you're rewarding the weak man. Because those men that are in your DMs trying to get in your pants, and just because you think he's good looking or he does something that gets your attention enough and you reward him, you're part of the problem as to why there is a fuck ton of weak men in society today. Think about that. Make the change. Get a lot of people, they have to make the change to become better individuals as a whole. That's why myself, I read a lot of books. I'm trying to always get more knowledge and become a better person every single fucking day. Because at one point, I was that weak man. I was that metal. I was a simp at one point, and I'll never do that again. Trust me. As men, we all have to go through it. And I'm being completely transparent with you guys so that way you guys could know that it's possible to change into something greater. I just got tired of the bullshit. I got tired of being taken advantage of, taken for granted, being used. I got fucking tired of it. Beta males, simps, and men that are feminized, they do not get tired of being used, being put on the side, being a pushover. They're desperate. And that goes to my second point, or my other point, is that a man that lacks an abundance of women or money, those men are very dangerous. They're the ones that are going to backstab you. Those are the ones that will sleep with your wife. Those are the ones that will sleep with your girlfriend because they lack an abundance of women or money. So, in the moment that they even get a chance with somebody else, they're going to take it. Because most men, the majority of men cannot cheat. If they're in marriages or you have a boyfriend or whoever, or if you're in a relationship, like most men do not have the opportunity to chase because ain't nobody chasing them. Especially if you have an average husband or an average boyfriend, a man that nobody wants, or a man that doesn't really have much influence. And it's okay. Most people, they live comfortably and their husbands are not out there. I respect that. But for the majority of guys in general, because I hear this a lot from women, oh, men are all cheaters. I'm like, no, the majority of men can't even cheat. They don't even have the chance to because nobody's chasing them. So how are they going to be able to step out? It's when they get the opportunity, like whenever they try to step out or they meet somebody at the gym or they meet somebody at their job. That's where it happens. That's where usually the infidelity happens. But if you have a of excellence, high value. He has a lot of influence. Yeah, I mean, he has the opportunity to cheat all the time because a lot of women are chasing him. But that's what comes with dating somebody of high value. And if he stays loyal to you, that's a very rare man. You know, a lot of women, they make a whole checklist for men. They have to be tall. He has to fucking make this amount of money. He has to be good looking. He has to be funny. You know, there's a whole list. And if he has all that, you're the one that steps into his life. It's not the other way around. That's a man that's respected. But like I said earlier, why are women rewarding these weak men that don't have all that list, but women are still giving these guys opportunities? Think about it. Having kids with these guys. So it's easy to point the finger both ways right now. Not just at the men. I'll go at the men all fucking day because I see it and they're fucking weak, yeah. But when women are rewarding them, it's not helping the case. It's not helping anybody at all. Especially if you want the man to open up your door. You know, even the simple little thing when you're walking down the street, you keep your woman away from the street on the other side next to you, not walking, you know, next to the street. You guys will know what I'm talking about, right? Like it's little things like that. When a man has a masculine frame, hold your chair out whenever you guys are about to sit down anywhere. You know, make sure that you're good when he comes home. He doesn't nag at you. You don't nag at him. You know, it's a beautiful energy when both people come together and they feed each other the energy that they need. It goes sideways. It goes south very quick when the opposite happens. The nagging, those little traits that I just talked about. You know, it's crazy to see because even next time you guys go out, look, I'll give you guys some little tests so that way you guys could actually pay attention as to how much this is happening. Next time you're at the store or at a bar or wherever, look at couples and see how the men walk with their women. I've been noticing a lot of women, they're the ones walking in the front. It's like they're leading their man. When they get to their car, the man doesn't even open her door. Or if they're as a couple, the man is not driving. Or at the gas station, the guy's in the fucking passenger side and the woman's putting the gas. Like if I had a wife and she had her car, she will never have to put gas in her car. I will make sure every fucking Monday I'm early there at the gas station filling that car up. So that way she doesn't have to worry about it the rest of the week. That's just me putting my effort and masculine presence into that relationship. And guess what? It's going to feed off of that. She's going to feed off of that and be like, you know what? I feel taken care of. And a lot of women, they don't feel that way. They feel like they have to do everything in the household. And then the man is there complaining because he's not respected. I'm like, well, bro, you're not doing shit in the relationship. You're a complete lazy ass. You're not treating your woman as you should. So don't be complaining if you're not doing your part. If you're doing your part and she's bitching at you, yeah, I mean, then obviously there's a different issue there. That's what I'm saying. It's just dynamics that work when both genders understand their roles. There's blue jobs and there's pink jobs. And that's how it works in a relationship. Like I spoke about it earlier, the issues start happening when those roles are reversed and the woman is the one in charge. I've talked about that a lot in my last episodes. It's very easy to balance each other, guys. It's easy to balance each other out, guys, because if you don't, this is a result. It's a relationship that's going to lead up to misery. It's a marriage that's going to end up in divorce. And everybody's gonna point the fucking finger. They're gonna be like, oh no, it was his fault. Oh, it was her fault. And now who the fuck's ever gonna change if you're just pointing the finger at each other after each relationship? That's why I said it earlier. Like, it's very rare that you'll ever talk to a woman and she's talking about her ex, where she's like, you know what? No, I was a problem. When do you ever hear that? Like, I don't want to shit on women right now, but truly, you never hear a woman ever say, I was the problem. It's always like, nah, fuck him. He did this, he did that. Like, it's just pointing the finger. And then guess what? Guess what that creates? You're going to end up with the same results with the same person that you're going to get next. Or you're going to get the same results with the next person you get. And then guess what? It's the same old fucking fuckery, the same old circus that you created in the past. You're just going to invite that into your life over and over. And you're going to wonder why. You're lonely. You're not happy. You're bitter. This is what happens when you don't acknowledge who the problem is. That's why I spoke about it earlier in this episode. I was like, you have to look yourself in the mirror. It's easy to point the finger and be like, oh no, this person is weak. But sometimes the one that's pointing the finger, they're the ones that are weak because they're not taking accountability. Remember, I talked about that earlier. Accountability is one of the saviors in relationships because it makes it easier to get to the root of the problem. When somebody is open and actually wants to change for the better in the relationship, it makes all the difference. It's having the humility to be better for your partner. Most people, they carry themselves with pride and ego, and it just becomes a disaster. A complete fucking disaster. So stop pointing the finger. Maybe you should point the finger at yourself if that's the case. Because yes, there is a lot of bad apples, and yes, there's people that are weak and they're just pieces of shit. I get that. But sometimes if you're doing your best in the relationship and they're not, walk away. Like, stop complaining. You know what I mean? Like, if you're always bitching to your girlfriends or you're always bitching to your boys about how bad your partner is, like, that's one thing that I fucking hate, honestly. Like, especially if it's repetitive. Like, it's like, oh, we're gonna have a barbecue next weekend, but you already know that that person's gonna be talking shit about their partner. You kind of just want to shake them up and be like, bro, just fucking leave then. Like, why are you still there? Go find somebody that's gonna make you happy. I'd rather you talk about somebody that's making you happy. It's making me fucking upset that you're upset or sad or whatever. You know, people are just putting up with so much bullshit and it's just creating chaos everywhere. Because that causes a lot of people to step out, have infidelity, have affairs, and stuff like that. And you're only going to damage the other person even more. Instead of just making a quick call to the fucking divorce lawyer, it doesn't cost much to get a divorce, first of all. It costs a lot if you have a lot of assets and a lot of stuff in both people's names. Yes, I get that. But you'd rather do that now than hurt each other in the long run and just be putting up with the same old bullshit over and over. It's better to let go quicker now than later. It gets me rattled up, man, because I'm telling you, it's as a tattoo artist. I speak about this with my other artists that I have in my shop right now. We hear stories like every fucking day. Like, it's crazy because I've been doing this for almost 13 years. Um, and the last 10 years, maybe 8 years that I've actually been doing it more professional. Man, it's wild how many stories you hear about couples, how much they're struggling. And honestly, one of the things that I spoke about to my other artists about it, I was like, I wish that people spoke more in a positive manner of their spouse. Like, I want to see like 80% of what people talk about, if it's involving their spouse, it's a bad thing. The other 10%, it's good. But the majority is just bad. And I'm telling you, this is one of the reasons why I got motivated to even do my own podcast, and through my experiences as well, of how much pain we all go through and fuckery in general, because it's getting out of control and something has to give. It's wild that we're all going through it. I'm going through it too. I opened up a little bit on the last episode. I think it was the last episode, of not episode 7. But I spoke a lot about what I had just gone through, and why it's very difficult to be in relationships nowadays. I think if people go into relationships while being damaged, it's honestly the worst thing that you could do. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm acknowledging a lot of things, so that way you could actually realize if you are weak, or if you are doing things that are only detrimental to the complete opposite gender, for your spouse. If it's being detrimental to them, if it's being detrimental to your spouse, because if we continue going through life pointing the finger, like I said, it's going to keep happening. Weak people are hurting weak people, and two weak people together create chaos. That's just the reality of what we live in. And it sucks. It sucks because you see this in society so much that you wonder when it's going to ever end, or if anybody's even capable of having the strength to step up and be like, you know what, I'm going to make a change. I made a change. I got tired of, like I said, getting taken advantage of, being used, taken for granted, everything like that. You get to a breaking point as a person, and if you keep putting up with it through the years, you become a pushover, and a pushover is never respected. Pushovers are never respected. You're just a yes man. You're just somebody that agrees with everything. That makes you a weak man. You're supposed to lead your household. You're not supposed to be somebody that just agrees with your fucking spouse. If you can't lead your household, don't blame your spouse as to why she walked away. Because you're the one that should have kept that frame and that foundation and those boundaries in that household. But the moment that she steps out, it's over. Especially when a woman steps out. Because if a woman when a woman steps out, it's more emotional. When a man steps out, it's just because he just wants to get a quick in and out. That's it. With no attachment. That's why guys always do that. Like, it's just better to be loyal. If you're gonna be in a monogamous relationship and wanting to make that relationship work for a long time, be monogamous and be faithful and loyal to your partner. But don't put your spouse in a position to where they're curious about the world, but where they're curious about somebody else that you're not giving them. If you're not doing your best, that's why I spoke about it earlier. If you're not doing your best, how can you blame the other person if they step out? It's a hard reality. I'm not condoning that. I'm not saying that whenever your partner doesn't do what they need to, it's not an excuse to walk away or search for somebody else. No, I'm not saying that. But there's a lot of people that do that. Whenever you're married for so many years and nothing changes. That's why I said, why not just get a divorce? Why not just get a separation? Why keep putting up with the bullshit over and over? Why do that? Why put yourself in that same predicament over and over? It's just going to be the same old wall. It's a lot of take in. And I just wish that there was a healthier society nowadays to where there's healthier outlets, not easier outlets like many people are finding right now. And that's just through social media. And it sucks because even people that are loyal and they do their best with their partner, if that other partner is damaged or unhealed, they will still cheat on you. They're still gonna do whatever the fuck they want because they're weak. That's why you got to know who you're dealing with before you put a ring on them, before you want to commit to them. That's why a woman's past matters. And that's why these men that are weak, they don't know any better. They're getting with what they could get, not what they want. There's a big difference with that. You know what I mean? Like, that's why high value men, most of them are already all married. They're all taken because they know what they could get and what they want. So they could pick and choose. And you know what? This person actually brings the qualities that I'm looking for. But what does a weak man look for? Whatever he could get, whatever just falls at his fucking lap or whatever DM gets replied to. That's just the reality. And that's why you have all this fuckery happening. That's what I'm saying. Two weak people is creating chaos. But it starts with the men. That's where it starts. If men were more strong and more aware of what they want in life and not just go after anything that they could get, like, you know how much of a difference that would make in the world? They won't be putting effort into these women that already get so much attention. And imagine if you reduce the attention to these women are going to be like, oh, fuck, like, why is nobody hitting on me? That's going to make them better quality women. Think about it. The reason why a lot of women, they don't take accountability or they don't want to change is because their DMs are filled with options, like filled hundreds, thousands of fucking DMs through the years that they're alive or that they're active on social media. So that's why they don't change. And that's why I said earlier, like, that's why they struggle to take accountability. Because why do they have to? Because there's always going to be that one guy that's going to just give them attention, no matter how bad the woman is. Even if she's the biggest slut, like, the guy just wants to get in, and that's it. That's what women, they don't realize. Like, these low value men are just going to use you and dump you. And same with the high value guys. Like, a high value guy is going to know what type of quality women you are by the actions that you take, what you post on social media, if you're being promiscuous on social media, if you're seeking validation on social media every fucking day. Like, he's going to be like, no, I'm just going to use her for sex and that's it. That's not wife material. I don't want my future wife to be known out there and every guy out there knows how her body looks. Think about that. Before a lot of before a lot of um relationships, they used to work because women used to be modest and they used to reserve what they showed to their man. Their man was the only one that saw them, you know, in lingerie, in bikinis and stuff like that. It's, well, bikinis is more of a reach, but because obviously if you go to the beach and stuff, everybody sees you. But I'm talking about more sexually. Only your man is supposed to see that. He's the only one that's supposed to see how your skin looks when you're showing that much skin. What happened to modesty? It's just gone. It's gone out of the fucking door. And I'll probably talk about this in a later episode. I know I have already talked about it in my last episodes, but it's becoming a big issue, and it's just not stopping. because I know that whenever I start talking about something, I will go into that subject and I'm gonna keep talking about it. But I know I've already spoken on that, but I probably will bring up a lot of examples through my later episodes because it's becoming worse. It's honestly, that's why I'm always going to bring it up too, because I see how damaging it is for women and how damaging it is for men. They have easy access to, photos of women. All you got to do is open up Instagram and it's just all there. You want to see how her ass looks? Just scroll and you'll be looking. How do her breasts look? Just scroll and look, you'll find it. It's crazy because what value does that hold if everybody could see it? Then you wonder why men don't take you serious. I'm talking to the women that do this. Why do you think men do not take you serious? If you're one of those that are like, oh, I can never find a good guy, I'm like, well, maybe you shouldn't be posting your body out there like that. Maybe that will change. They want to fuck you, but they don't want to put a ring on you. That's the big difference. Many men want to fuck women. That's a whole generalization of men. But that's not going to bring you value. That's the thing. What brings you value is being a woman of value, and because you preserved your value, not because you just gave it away to anybody. That's what makes you a high value woman. A lot of women, they're just modernized. Like I said earlier, same as men, they're getting modernized by society and sometimes by the partners that they're with, especially if she's the one overpowering the man. I've seen it happen. Trust me, I've seen it happen, and more than once. But when are men going to become better? Is it whenever shit hits the fan? Why can't it happen before? I'd rather speak on this right now and bring awareness to a lot of men that are listening to this, and same as women, because like I said earlier, it's easy to point the finger. It's very easy to point the finger. It's better to point the finger at yourself and create each other, or create a space for each other to become better individuals for the relationship. And I feel like that's going to make the whole difference in the world, because God knows we know it. God knows that we need it. So there was this what do you call it, a forum that I saw on Reddit. And I think a lot of my references are going to be from Reddit, because there's a lot of people that they open up about what they're going through and relationships, and people need advice and stuff like that. So I've been reading through a lot of them. But there was this one that I wanted to talk about, and it goes into how women easily blame men. And going back to what I keep saying, point the finger at yourself, because sometimes the other person is not the problem. It's easy to label them as a weak man when they don't take you serious, whenever they don't do things that you want them to, especially if this is like early dating. Like, sometimes the man doesn't want to commit to you. He wants to get into your pants, and he's using you for that time. But that doesn't make him a weak man. He just doesn't want to give you those qualities. You got to think about that. So I'm just going to read through this quick. I'm going to put it here on the screen so that way you guys could see. I got this new software, so I'm pretty excited about using it. These videos are going to be put on YouTube, so I think episode 9 is going to be the first one that actually is more professional, and I'm getting a lot better with every episode and all the editing and all the software. But that's a little too extra for you guys, extra information that I'm sharing, but I wanted to put that out there. But here we have weak men and dating. So people that are watching this like on YouTube or anywhere else, you'll be able to read it, but I'm gonna read it to everybody that's listening to it on Spotify or Apple Podcast. So story time. My friend contacted me this morning about the man she had introduced me to, who had an entire post about being a nice guy and paying the price for his niceness. When I dated this man, he was flaky. He thought he was spontaneous. This led to the end. This led to the end last year when he said he still had feelings for his ex. I noticed irregularities in communication. He then proceeded to contact me about a month later. I had already told him I do not stay in touch with men I have dated, but he just wanted a connection. Sure. He was very upset that I sent him on his way and posted a meme about it on Facebook. I don't follow him, but my friend contacted me and asked what happened. This man thinks he is a victim of being nice, but he is a weak man, unable to share thoughts and feelings, thinking about only himself. His birthday is coming up and he's failing at attracting anyone and is now trying dating in the dead zone. Don't worry, I'm not interested, and he is blocked. Weak men are a real turnoff to me. They have a fragile ego, and I'm not here to give them a boost. So this right here, it sounds like it was very early in dating. Um, I know what the guy did. He was being petty. Went on Facebook and made a post about it. But it just, I don't know. There's not too much information, but this sounds like girl talk. Usually when girls are talking, they will only talk about the bad, and they're only going to bring up the situations that made them create a response. I've heard girl talk, and they've always just gone at the man in the most negative way. Like, you'll never hear, "Oh, but he made me feel this way. Oh, he brought me these flowers." Like, you'll never hear that whenever they're pissed off. That's why women become evil whenever they're pissed off and they're talking with other women, because the other women are just going to hype them up and keep talking bad about the other fucking person. Like, that's what I said. Women struggle with accountability. I hate saying that, but it's the fucking truth, because other women don't keep each other accountable. It's like they're rewarding each other for their fucking bad behavior. But see how she just labeled this man as being weak? Like, it's easy to label a man weak, but why not just fucking walk away and ignore him and just move forward with your life? Like, once you started noticing that he was talking to his ex or still had feelings for his ex, just walk away. You like it's crazy how women they'll keep staying into a situation, knowing the red flags, and they put up with it. And then once it ends, they're like, no, the guy was weak. Like, it's easy to fucking throw the blame game around. And it's what I spoke about earlier. Like, it's easy to point the finger. Like, why aren't you pointing the finger at yourself and just being like, well, I wasn't more aware and I should have just walked away sooner. Maybe you're the one that was weak for staying longer. You know what I mean? Like, it's just common sense, guys. Like, this is what I mean by women just putting men down, and they don't take accountability. And this fucking picture, it says, and you scare people because you are a whole all by yourself. Okay. My friend in her 30s told me that most men cannot handle a woman who is whole on her own. It scares them. Oh, I fucking hate that. I hate when a woman's like, oh, he if he can't handle me at my worst, then why should I give him my best? A woman that's independent. So I'm scaring the men away. I'm like, no, you're not scaring no fucking men away. You're never going to scare a high value man away. Ever. Usually the ones you're scaring away, it's just the guys that are weak because they don't know any better. Going back to what I just spoke about earlier, and it's reasons why I'm reading these examples, because this is the reality. People are naive to who they're dealing with. You know, a woman deals with the man. She thinks that the man's just like everybody else. It's why I said earlier, how does a woman distinguish a weak man from a high value man when she's used to just being, putting up with the bullshit over and over? How would she ever know the difference? You know, it's it's common sense because well, it's not common sense. It's one of the things that women have to understand in men and what type of man that they're dealing with. You can't just label all men being the same. Like I said, there's a lot of weak men. Yes, I get that. There's a lot of pieces of shit, but don't label all of them and then think they're all the same. Because no, they're not fucking scared of you. I promise you, they're not. A man that has his life in order and is a man of excellence. You think a woman that's independent and has everything going for her, you think that's gonna scare him away? No, he has an abundance of options. You think one fucking woman's gonna scare him away? No. He's looking for a woman that's gonna bring value to him. And this is the type of behavior that feminists have. They feel entitled. So continuing with this, it says, well, I hope I am horror show for these men because men who are bold and willing to take the risk are very attractive to me. These wimpy wailing men who expect women to do all the work are a real turnoff. Well, yeah, then why do you keep putting up with men that make you do all the work? You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like if you see those signs early, walk away. You know, why are you gonna keep staying in there with the weak man and then be complaining about it later when you decided to keep staying in that relationship? Yeah, when she said I'm a horror show for these men because who are bold and willing to take risks are very attractive to me. Yeah, I guess what she's trying to explain is that men that are bold, I guess attracted. I don't know these fucking women on here. Sometimes they can't even write sentences right, but maybe it's just me. But I think I see your point. But no, not all men are scared of you. So the comments say, I totally agree. A weak man is such a turnoff for me. If I can't respect the guy, I cannot see myself being with him or even talking to him. See, this is a good example right here. This right here is a really good example. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Is that a weak man can never be respected. If you're in a marriage, how is your wife going to respect you if you're a weak man? If you're not doing your duty as a man, if you're not leading that household, how is she ever going to respect you? The epitome of weak to me is selecting don't know yet on a dating app. Most of the time, they know exactly what they want and are too timid to say it. The rest of the time, they truly are too addled to know their own mind. Either way, it's disgusting display of guttleness, and I hold these men to highest contempt. Let's see. This is right here. They seem to think that not claiming a dating intention goal gives them some plausible deniability for when they say stupid shit like, I thought we were just friends with benefits the past few months, not developing a relationship. I asked one guy what don't know yet meant to him, and his response was, it means I don't know yet what I want with you. We hadn't even met yet. So duh. Of course he wouldn't know yet what kind of situation he wanted with me. It's such an evasive cop out. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't label a guy weak if he doesn't like commit to you fully. Like, you can't just label him as that. Maybe he doesn't see the qualities that he wants in a woman. You know what I mean? Like, that's why most guys are just gonna keep women in the friends with benefits category. And that's it. And then from there, it's just not going to move anywhere else. It's just going to stay the same, honestly. Remember what I said earlier about women giving their body just to anybody else? Like, if the woman just keeps giving her body, she is damaging her psyche, her soul. She's damaging, I mean, everything, like, honestly, because man penetrates you. And enough men penetrate you. I mean, there has to be some fucking psychological fuckery happening in your mind. When that happens, even with the stimulus that you receive through social media from the opposite gender, if it's sexually or flirtatious or whatever, it's gonna fuck you up somehow. And a lot of women, they get put in these friends with benefits categories because the man already smells it on you. Like, he already sees what type of woman you are. It's not because he's weak, especially the high value man that's experienced and has actually been around. He will know better. He would actually know, like, what he's dealing with. And it's one thing to label somebody and fucking make it easy, be like, oh no, he's just weak. No, maybe you're the one that's weak. I'm speaking to the women that don't take accountability and change and become better women, so that way these men aren't doing the same shit. And they won't put you in that friends with benefits category. Because every man that that obviously that's not family. It could be the friend, it could be a coworker. I'm speaking to the women. If you have male friends, every single one of them, I almost guarantee they would want to sleep with you. Just for you guys to know the abundance of how men think. If they had their chance, they will. Only high value man that potentially could resist to that. I've seen it happen. I've done it myself, where I resisted to not sleeping with the woman just because I hold such respect for her. Like, I've done that before. But the majority of the weak men that are just average, men that don't get their chances with an abundance of women, they're gonna take their chance once they could see it. Once they see that little crack, they're gonna go all in. But guess what? This is not making men strong. It's only making them more weak. And that's why this subject today, I wanted to generalize it in both genders, because it's just affecting each other. Vice versa. Because I could have just attacked men and be like, "Oh, you guys are pieces of shit. You guys can't do this." But in reality, sometimes people do have traumas. People deal with a certain amount of spouses or partners that are very difficult. I get that. But it's reactions based off of energies you give to each other. And people could change because of that. If you give your partner the right energy, I could almost see that people could change. If you do your duty as a man, you're going to give this energy to the woman. She's going to feel feminine, and she's going to want to give you that energy back. And it's just a beautiful energy back and forth. But whenever it's the complete opposite, that's where the chaos starts. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I've been speaking about it a lot. It's back and forth. It's an energy. And sometimes it just doesn't work. Obviously, like I said, there's bad apples. There's always bad apples for men and women. But if you do your part, if you do your best, and you're not naive to who you're dealing with, because like I said earlier, if you're a woman, research what a man wants. I'll give you guys that homework today, honestly. Research what men want, what high value men want, and what weak men go after. You'll know the difference. Trust me. And I think that will put you guys in a way better mindset and how to attack the dating culture today. Because right now, people, they don't know what the fuck to look for. Women don't know what they want. Men are just going after what they could get. High value men are just getting the majority of the women because all the women are chasing them. So you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all a fuckery right now. That's why there's a lot of confusion. That's why there's a lot of delusion. And that's why there's a lot of broken homes. One of my next episodes, I will be talking about hypergamy. I don't know if you guys know what that means, but it's when it's when a man could give you a life of abundance, a man that's your dream man. Let's just put it that way. Um, I'm just gonna put it very simple. Hypergamy works because when a woman leaves a relationship, she wants to upgrade. She wants the best partner that's up next. Like she's not gonna downgrade. For the most part, I mean, I've seen women, they'll downgrade to whoever gives them attention, but that's just a weak woman. But I'm talking about women that actually want better in their life. They want to upgrade, which is what hypergamy. They want somebody that's a lot better than who they dealt with before. That's hypergamy. But I don't want to talk about I don't want to talk about it too much on this episode because I probably be Ooh, I don't know why I'm stuttering so much right now. Okay. So I don't want to talk about it too much on this episode because I'll probably just keep going on about it. But hypergamy is really important. And I think hypergamy is one of the reasons why a lot of people are stepping away. Well, women in general, because they're the ones that look for hypergamy. It's not men. Men don't want a woman better than they are. That's what I'm saying. Women always look up to a man. They want somebody that they could look up to. Man, if you look up to your woman, well, you got issues because it's just not going to work that way. It's just not. There's a time bomb when that happens for a divorce or a separation. It might be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, but it's just not going to work, honestly, because in marriages, when the woman makes more money than the husband, it usually never works. It has to be the complete opposite. The man has to be the one that makes the most money in the household. It's not for all cases, but I've done research through this, and it's statistics showing that when a woman makes more, she's the one that usually walks away. Why? Because she wants hypergamy. She wants somebody that she could look up to. That's what I'm saying, guys. Be the best fucking man possible. That's why I'm talking about this in general. Is like weak man. It's a big issue, yes, but you guys have to do it on your own. Like you guys have to work on yourself. Go to the gym, pursue something. Like I spoke about it earlier in this episode. Don't waste your fucking time on TikTok. Don't be watching shit you're not supposed to. You know what I'm talking about. Put your time into something that's going to create somebody better inside of your soul, inside of your character in general. Go to church, pursue God. There's so many things that you could do that could bring a lot of positivity to your life. And it starts with men. But women, please do not fucking be rewarding these fucking men. I'm telling you, because you guys are not helping the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to call men weak, but if you guys are not helping the case, you guys can't say shit, honestly. You guys can't. You guys can't be part of those women that actually are valuable and actually want strong men. You can't be rewarding weak men and be like, oh, fuck weak men. Like, come on, it's just common sense. So I think I'm gonna cut it off right there, guys, because I think I covered a lot of important things on this episode. I truly do. I could have gone into it more into detail, into different categories, more examples, more videos. Maybe I will in these next episodes because the last episode, it was pretty long because I had a lot of reaction videos. I put a video and then I reacted to it. Um, but I think I covered the importance as to what's creating these weak men and what weak men are causing in society. So please, if you're a man listening to this, if you're married, if you're in a relationship, or you're seeking to pursue being into finding somebody for yourself or and approaching this dating culture and approaching this dating culture, be the best possible man for yourself. Create something that's irreplaceable. Be a man that's just somebody that a woman could look up to. Let's just put it that way. Go to the gym, dress good, have jewelry. There's little things that you could do. Even with myself, it took me a while. I started wearing jewelry maybe like 2 years ago, a year ago, but it's been one of the most things that I've been getting compliments on. It's just a fucking necklace, a jewelry that I just wear, my hats. I mean, little things that you could change as a man in your appearance, because that's what women look at first. They're the ones that look at you and be like, oh, you know what? Is he good looking or not? So work on your appearance. If you're overweight, go to the gym. Groom up very nicely. If you have a beard, make sure that it's trimmed nicely. Your haircut says a lot about you as well. And just the way you take care of yourself, smell good, have a presence to yourself. And trust me, it's going to make all the difference in the world. You know, pursue something in your life that you're going to be proud of for years to come. Make more money, pursue whatever you want. If you want to pursue businesses, do all the research that you can, read the books, put yourself in rooms that are going to allow that to happen. Hang around people that are winners. Hang around men that have the life that you want. I mean, these are little examples that I could give you guys that could help you out. And trust me, it's an amazing life to be high value. It's an amazing life, trust me. And it's something that's going to be worth it once you get there, if you're not there already. But you'll be able to to influence many other people, help other people along the way, because there's a lot of men that need help right now and they feel like they're stuck. So in these next episodes, I will keep talking about it. I'm going to be talking about women, men, dynamics. I mean, there's a lot of things that I could talk about, but I think today I covered a lot of important things. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys for listening. Much love. Luna out. But I appreciate you guys for listening, and I will be more committed to this. I know I keep saying it, but life just keeps happening, honestly. But I appreciate you guys, for everybody that made it this far in this episode. Um, yeah, just keep looking forward to better and more interesting topics that I'll be talking about in the future. Much love, guys. Luna out.